The main reason why we as men are drawn to combat so much is the same physiological and psychological reason why we are generally attracted to be somewhat involved within conflicts in the first place. It's the arousal that comes from both the anxiety and excitement of being involved in something primarily subservient to our innate hierarchical and territorial nature. The assertion of dominance and the imposition of will to determine someone's state of superiority or supremacy within a social setting or space have been evolutionary inherited and acculturated both into our biology and society as men. Our greater muscle mass, stronger bones, faster reactions, thicker skin, and greater tolerance towards pain are all purposefully God-given to better equip us for combat, conflict, and self-defense ever since the dawn of mankind. That is why men are the ones who goes out hunting. That is why men are the ones that go to war. That is why men are the ones who do construction work. That is why men are the ones who work in protection and distress response, because we are naturally and hereditarily much better equipped for all those high-risk endeavors. Our primitive disposition towards combat and conflict makes us highly intrigued and captivated towards witnessing or even engaging in fights. That is why the 75 to 90% of mixed martial arts audience are all predominantly occupied by men. In today's time, obviously, much has changed. Civilization has evolved and everything has become a lot more controlled, restrictive, and prohibited. Thus, we become a lot less inclined to want to engage in combat, let alone meticulously prepare ourselves for combat or even purposefully expose ourselves towards combat, unless and only if the circumstance calls for us to do so. That is why many of us today have absolutely no idea how to defend ourselves or crumble in the face of personal conflict with another party, because we are no longer often exposed towards circumstances that compels us to learn or be taught how to defend ourselves from a very young age. Most of us were born in supremely comfortable, censored, and civilized world as opposed to our ancestors who were born during the times of bare, constant disputes and antagonism. Now, today, generally we learn how to fight at a much later age and for slightly different reasons and purposes, often much more intrinsically or metaphorically inclined and involved than before. Also a lot more civilized than before. Such as our high admiration towards fighting or fighters in general is because we secretly want to possess the physical capabilities, mental attributes, and character traits that fighters have, or that are derived from the results of learning how to fight. And we'd be right, because if you think lifting weights can develop or cultivate your physical capabilities and character substantially, fighting takes that particular issue into a whole new dimension. Because you're no longer trying to overcome an inanimate object of a certain magnitude that does not pose a direct and conscious threat towards your safety. In a fight, you're not trying to overcome an individual whose sole purpose or intention is to physically and mentally damage or incapacitate you completely. It's a completely different realm of facing adversity than merely enduring the arduous but salvageable pain of an endeavor. Here, you are facing actual threats or the type of pain that can seriously or brutally damage your well-being and existence, narratively speaking. So it is a lot more complicated task to quote-unquote overcome or withstand than to just merely quote-unquote complete through enduring aches, which you also have to go through in a fight, by the way. Fighting is not just a test of character or willpower, it's a test of everything, including your skills or knowledge of the art, bad tendencies, intelligence, and even your attitude, in a much more justifiable clarity. There is only so much pain you can quote-unquote just endure in a fight before someone takes them to a level that is too much for you to handle, and unlike lifting weights, does not stop when you reach failure. More of your primal instincts will be reawakened during an actual fight, or even in a normal hard spar against someone. A lot of fighters say that you'll know who you really are when you engage in combat against someone else who is willing to impose his will against you. And it's true. Everything that is perceptible, quantifiable, and noticeable about you will be evidently exposed before, during, and after a fight. Your physical and mental weaknesses, bad habits, level of patience, fear, persistence, endurance, willpower, confidence, and your attitude towards success, hardships, and failure will all be exposed, especially if it is your first time engaging in a fight or a hard spar. Because you have no time to think and wear a social mask when you fight, it's all about survival in there, and everything is done at a very fast pace. Thus, you will only do what your current predisposed or conditioned instincts tell you to do, whether it is to cover up, crumble, and eventually yield, or to hold on and eventually muster up the courage to fight back. Fighting, or in this case, learning how to fight, is the most bare, pure, and visceral form of self-improvement and competition. I'd say even more than lifting weights or any form of physical exercise, because it makes you become more self-conscious than ever before, especially when it comes to identifying your own practical weaknesses through constant, brutal, humbling process that occurs way more than lifting weights. because you are now consciously competing and measuring yourselves against other individuals' capabilities and traits, which will make you become more viscerally aware and apprehensive of where you stand amongst all your peers. You will often feel like you are nothing or don't know anything most of the times, but that is precisely why most men with a strong enough desire kept doing it, because they constantly learn something new about themselves and about others through sharing combat time with one another, and eventually develop a much deeper bond with one another, all while cultivating themselves and fixing their weaknesses through healthy competition. Plus, the confidence boost of knowing you have the capability to defend yourself and defeat someone is quite a nice addition to your social presence. So once again, for you gentlemen watching and are into self-improvement, or more importantly are having a hard time in introspection and putting your ego to the side, learn how to fight. Just sign up to a boxing gym or an MMA gym. Just try it out for 3 months and do a hard spar with someone who is also looking to hard spar. Most likely you'll lose, badly and quickly, but don't take it personally. Rather catch yourself in your thoughts and feelings afterwards and see practically for yourself whether it had helped you to become humble enough and conscious enough to spot the strengths and weaknesses in both your practical capabilities and character. Thank you for watching.